Hello and welcome back to Sports Casserole. Today we're going to be breaking down the International Gridiron Gang Dynasty League. It's going into its fourth season. There's a 14-team half PPR league. Starting requirements are one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, one tight end, and there's three flex spots, which for a 14-team league, it's actually fairly deep starting requirements. Last year, I took over a team in this league as an orphan and blew it up, starting from scratch, more or less. Hopefully, I'll turn it around sooner or later, but right now I'm in the middle. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up. At number 14, we have Big Ben 61. This is a team that he just took over as an orphan this year. He's made a lot of big moves. Overall, he's tearing it down, building it back from scratch. At quarterback, he's got Dak, Mitchell Trubisky, and Josh Rosen. Obviously, Dak's a great option for a starter, especially in a 14-team league. His backups aren't great, but no one's backups in a 14-team league are great. At running back, he's got Peyton Barber, David Johnson, Brian Hill, Justin Jackson, and Benny Snell. Obviously, David Johnson is the only actual player that you'd want to be starting for the running back position. I mean, even him he is a question mark. Part of the reason that he's so low is because of the weakness at running back. At wide receiver, he's got Keenan Allen, Robbie Anderson, Corey Davis, and Tyrell Williams. Keenan Allen, obviously a good option. Robbie Anderson, Corey Davis aren't really anything more than maybe, hopefully, wide receiver threes. So he's got some ground to make up there. At tight end, he has Dallas Goedert, Ian Thomas, Jonnu Smith. All three really good young options that could ascend and hopefully break out, be wide tight end ones. I know Goddard was this past season, but I don't think he'll repeat again just because I anticipate that Eagles will get actual receiving weapons, or some of their receiving weapons will stay healthy this season. Overall, not a very good team. Really only three players that I would feel comfortable starting on a weekly basis, and Dak, David Johnson, and Keenan Allen. That's why he's down at 14. He does have 110 and 111 this year to hopefully help bolster some of the holes he has. We'll see what he can do in the draft. At number 13, we have Stallion 32. Last season he finished 8th, but his team is – I'm honestly not sure how he finished as high as he did. At quarterback, he's probably going to end up starting Josh Allen. He has Rivers slotted in as a starter right now, but Allen I would definitely say is the starter between those two. At running back, he's got Nick Chubb, Carlos Hyde, and Chris Carson. Chubb and Carson are both solid options, especially in the 14-team league. Carlos Hyde is your third option. Isn't ideal, but he does have 107 and 202 as well as 207. So hopefully he can find another option there at running back. But he has a big hole at wide receiver. His starting wide receivers right now are Randall Cobb, Chris Conley, Alan Hearns, and Hunter Renfrow. Of those four, Hunter Renfrow is the only one that really has any long-term potential. Randall Cobb had a nice bounce-back season and is actually only 29 or going to be 29 at the start of the year. So he's not a bad option as a fifth or sixth tight wide receiver, being that he's, in my mind, the number 2 for his team. It's a big hole, probably bigger than his running back hole, to be honest. At tight end, he has Austin Hooper, a top 10, regardless of where he goes in free agency. But yeah, he's at 13, and really the only thing that is holding him up is Chubb, Josh Allen, and Austin Hooper. At 12, we have Patriots 84. He finished last season 5th in the league. But this season, he's a Patriots fan, obviously, by the name, and you can tell that by his team. And with Tom Brady finally falling off, not producing as well, it's going to impact the rest of his team. He does have Tom Brady and Kyler Murray at quarterback, so he does, having Kyler Murray, he has his replacement for Tom Brady. But at running back, he has Sony Michel, Raheem Mostert, and not a whole lot else. Michel and Mostert could be good options. They could end up flaming out and being no better than running back threes, in my opinion. But maybe they work out, maybe they don't. Maybe they end up being RB2s, and he'll be solid there. But I doubt it. Personally, it's a little more risky than I would want to be at that position. Wide receiver, this is definitely the strength of his team. He's got Mike Evans, Julian Edelman, Devontae Adams, and N'Keal Harry. But like I said, Tom Brady falling off and possibly not even being a Patriot next year, which seems crazy to say. But even if he is back, his play is deteriorating. Edelman and Harry, having both of them be starters for you weekly, won't be ideal. But Evans and Devontae Adams are both pretty solid options. Obviously, wide receiver ones if they're both healthy. But outside of that, like I said, other than Kyler Murray, he doesn't have much else that I would feel if I had my brothers, I wouldn't want to start anyone else from the starting roster, to be honest with you. At tight end, he has O.J. Howard, and that's pretty much it. So he's at 12, pretty much supported only by having two elite top 10 wide receivers. At 11, we have Bartender. He finished last season at 7th. This year, I have him ranked at 11th. At quarterback, he's got Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, and Teddy Bridgewater. Obviously, Wentz is a solid option as long as he stays healthy. Goff is also at least a solid, if not good, option at quarterback. At running back, he's got Dalvin Cook and Damian Williams. Dalvin Cook's definitely a solid option as long as he's healthy, which he proved he could be last year. Damian Williams, who knows if he's going to be the starter, if he'll be healthy or not. As he showed in the Super Bowl, when he's healthy and playing well, he can be an elite option, especially in a high-powered offense. At wide receiver, he's got Jamison Crowder, Devontae Parker, Mohamed Sanu, Emmanuel Sanders, and Kenny Stills, as well as Mecole Hardman. All of them decent options. Parker was a wide receiver 1 last year. Crowder, surprisingly, was a wide receiver 2. So not bad options, not great options. His depth is really lacking on the team, and it's an older team overall. So if I was him, I'd start selling off some of the premier pieces and start that rebuild now. But that's definitely up to him. Like I said, he finished 7th this past season. So he was doing something right and could have made a push for the playoffs. This year I think he'll finish 11th. At 10, I have Michael Mitchell. At quarterback, he's got, let's see where you finished last season. He finished 9th last season. At quarterback, he has Matthew Stafford, Nick Foles, and Andrew Luck. Obviously, he'll be starting Stafford most weeks. Foles, it's rumored, or just came out today, that the Jags are looking to trade him and move forward with Gardner Minshew as their starting quarterback. So regardless of if Foles gets traded or not, right now he's not a starting option for him. So he really just has Stafford, and he's still rostering Andrew Luck, hoping he comes back. At running back, he's got Rojo, Duke Johnson, Kenneth Dixon, Tariq Cohen. This is a big hole. Rojo might be a starter. He might not. Regardless of if he is or not, he didn't really produce at an elite level. He was an RB2. So if he's the starter again next year, I expect him to take another step forward and be at least a mid-level RB2. Michael Mitchell also has 105 and 203, as well as 205 and 210, 209, and 214. So he, with the depth of this class, especially at running back and wide receiver, he could fill that running back hole that he has potentially at 105 and 203. But the rest of his team is solid. At wide receiver, he's got Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, as well as Deontay Johnson, Tyler Boyd, Paris Campbell, and Isabella. All pretty good options. It's not ideal, obviously, to have both of the top 2 wide receivers for the Rams, but regardless of them both being on the same team, they were both at least wide receiver 2s the past 2 seasons when they were both healthy. And Deontay Johnson, I looked to make a big step forward this next season. And Tyler Boyd, he'll probably continue to be a wide receiver 2. Hopefully Joe Burrow will come in and help him play up to his potential, which I think is possibly a high-end RB2, low-end RB or wide receiver 1. At tight end, he's got Mark Andrews and Evan Ingram, 2 young elite options when they're healthy. So definitely a solid group there. But it's really his running backs that pull his team rank down. At 9, I have it's Alexis. Yep, Alexis, sorry. Alexis at 109 at 9th. Last season he finished 13th. Looked for him to make another step forward this year. Health will be a big factor in that. Quarterback, he's got Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr, as well as Dwayne Haskins. Solid group, not great, not bad. At running back, he's got Derrick Henry, Todd Gurley, Kerryon Johnson, James White. Again, a solid group, not bad. If Derrick Henry and Todd Gurley can if Derrick Henry can play the way he did to finish the season and Gurley can return to his 2018 form, he could have the best running back tandem in this league. I don't anticipate that happening. But at worst, I think they'll both be RB2s and he'll have a solid duo. At wide receiver, he has Allen Robinson, Deebo Samuel, and Mike Williams, Kyle Kedlow, and Fuller, as well as Auden Tate, John Ross. So between Deebo, A-Rob, and Mike Williams, that's a solid trio right there. Young guy, relatively young guys. A-Rob and Mike Williams are both 25 or older, but still below that 27 to 28 age range. And they're solid. It's not great. It's not bad. At tight end, he's got Tyler Higbee and Will Disley. Higbee showed flashes last year towards the end of the season, but that was without Gerald Everett. If Gerald Everett comes back healthy, during the first part of the season when they were both healthy, Higbee was used more as a blocker while Everett was out receiving. So we'll see how it goes to finish out the year or to start the year. It could be great, could be not so great. Will Disley had a tremendous start to the season, but then got injured for the second year in a row. And then the Seahawks went out and signed Greg Olsen this past season. So we'll see what he can do if he can come back healthy or not. The signing of Greg Olsen, it isn't a good indication that he's going to be healthy, but it also isn't. It's not a death knell. Greg Olsen's older. They signed him for relatively cheap. So overall, it's not a bad team. It's not a good team. It's going to be right in the middle. At number 8 is my team. At quarterback, I have Jimmy G and Tyrod Taylor. It's not a great group. It's not a bad group. It's enough that if the rest of my team can come around, it's not going to lose me a week. At running back, I have Darius Geis and Jalen Richard. I do have 102, 104, 113, as well as 201 and 204. So I plan on addressing the running back hole that is very glaring on my team right now with that 102 and 104. Hopefully, honestly, those 2 rookies will start for me weekly. But right now it's Geis and Jalen Richard, so it's a big hole. At wide receiver, I have Juju, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, Brandon Cooks, Kelvin Harmon, Darius Slayton, as well as Jalen Hurd. I love Juju and DJ Moore. They're both very young wide receivers with really good breakout ages in the NFL. Hopefully Juju can bounce back if Big Ben's healthy. I know he hasn't even thrown a tennis ball yet, so that's a big question mark. But if he can play like he did in 2018, be a wide receiver one, and I think DJ Moore is going to take a step forward and be a wide receiver one this next season. Curtis Samuel and Brandon Cooks, as well as Terry McLaurin, they're all solid. Cooks fell off this past year, but before that, he hadn't had less than 1,000 yards receiving in his previous 5 seasons. So I think he'll bounce back and be a wide receiver too. That's my hope, at least. If he doesn't, my team won't be great. At tight end, I have Mike Gesicki, Irv Smith, and Chris Herndon. All 3 good young options. I think Mike Gesicki is going to take a big step forward this year and possibly push to be in the conversation for a top 6 dynasty tight end. But overall, it's not a team that I think can compete right now, but it's on the right track. So we'll see what it does this next year. But right now it's at 8 in the league. At 7, I have J568. Last season he finished 4th. So he does have the 101. At quarterback, he's got Jameis Winston and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Winston, there's a big question mark. It came out during the combine that they're not going to franchise tag him. They're going to let him test the open market. I think that caps his upside. I don't think there's many situations that are going to be better than what he had in Tampa Bay. But we'll see. If he does go back to Tampa Bay, obviously this past season he was a top 3 quarterback, and I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be again. At running back, he's got Kareem Hunt, Zeke, and Kenyon Drake. Pretty much nothing else, but he does have the 101, so he's going to have his pick of running backs there to pair with Zeke. And if Drake can play like he did at the end of this year, obviously he was on a pace to be an RB1. And Zeke is always an RB1 as long as he's – well, health isn't the issue. It's keeping his head out of his ass. That's the problem for him. At wide receiver, he's got T.Y. Hilton, Christian Kirk, DJ Chark, and Preston Williams. Hilton getting up there in age, but he'll still produce. Kirk, Chark, and Preston Williams are all 3 really solid options that I like. I think all 3 of them are going to take big step forward this next season. At tight end, he's got Eifert and Greg Olsen. Olsen, I think, depending on Will Dissly's health, Olsen will have a much better season with Russell Wilson. He'll be the best quarterback he's ever played with in his career. It's unfortunate that's happening at the end of his career, but I think Olsen will be a solid option for him at tight end. At number 6, we have T-Maj, 04. Last season he finished 6th. I have him projected to finish right there again this year. At quarterback, he has Deshaun Watson, Marcus Mariota, and Kyle Allen. Obviously, when you have Deshaun Watson starting, you don't really need anything else at quarterback. At running back, he's got Devin Singletary, Le'Veon Bell, Devontae Freeman, and Tony Pollard. This could be a hole for him. Singletary and Bell are good options, but Freeman is rumored. Oh, it's not rumored. It is a rumor still, but they're not going to bring him back in Atlanta. So depending on where he goes, he might end up as a 3rd down back or in a 3-headed timeshare, or he might not even get a job at all. That 3rd option is unlikely, but it's a possibility. T-Maj does have 106 though, so he could fill his running back hole there if there's any left by 106. I'll do a rookie mock later and we'll see what he gets. But overall, it's not a bad running back group. At wide receiver, he's got Golden Tate, Adam Thielen, A.J. Green, Marquise Brown, and Cole Beasley. It's a solid group. It's not anything that gets you excited, but it's solid. They're all older. Overall, T-Maj's team is old. I know he was trying to win the championship that last season. He kind of sold out for it. Well, it'd be interesting to me to see what he does the next couple of years here. See if he decides to try to start a rebuild or not. He does have a few nice young pieces, but overall it's an older team that I just don't see competing for a championship. At tight end, he has Hawkinson and Jeremy Sprinkle. Obviously, Hawk is he tested as a generational talent at tight end at the combine. If he ever realizes that potential in the NFL is yet to be seen. He had a great first couple of weeks, but then just kind of disappeared, and then finished the season IR. But he's a good, solid tight end to build around. But overall, older team, middle of the road. Team edge is at 6. At 5, we have D.A. Look. Last season, he finished 10th. I think he's building a really good team, and he's going to take a step forward this year. At quarterback, he's got Daniel Jones as well as Baker Mayfield. Obviously, 2 really good quarterbacks. Dynasty, they're ranked top 10, both of them, and I think both will produce. Baker's going to bounce back, in my opinion. At running back, he's got Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs, Mark Ingram, Rex Burkhead, and Nyheim Hines. Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs, the top 2 running backs from last season. And I think they're just both going to take big strides this next year and could both finish in the top 12 at the position. And he's got his running back situation figured out for at least the next 2 to 3 years, as long as they both stay healthy. At wide receiver, he's got Odell, Michael Gallup, Cortland Sutton, DK Metcalf, and Anthony Miller. This is a solid group. Overall, it's really young and just going to keep getting better. Odell, like I said, I think is going to bounce back. Gallup, I think is going to continue what he did last season. He sneakily had nearly 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns last year. Basically the same production that DJ Moore had, but for some reason in startups he's going nearly 6 to 7 rounds later than DJ Moore. I know they had different draft capital. Gallup was a 3rd rounder. DJ Moore was a 1st. DJ Moore had not more production, but more production at a high level college than Gallup did. But athletically, they're similar. Gallup's slightly bigger, but I think Gallup, in the right situation, basically if they let Amari walk, Gallup could be a wide receiver 1. Cortland Sutton and DK Metcalf both profile as high-end wide receiver 1s. If they reach that potential or not is yet to be seen, but it's there. And then Mark Ingram as his 3rd flex is a solid option as long as Baltimore doesn't bring in another running back. But overall, it's a really good team. It's still ascending. It could end up, if everything breaks right, could push for the championship this year, in my opinion. So DA Look at 5. At 4, we have Fighting Moose. He finished last season at 4, so he stays pretty much the same. His quarterbacks are Aaron Rodgers and Ryan Tannehill. Rodgers, obviously a solid option. He's getting up there in age, but as long as he's healthy, he's a quarterback 1. He's done that every year of his career, other than when he wasn't starting or didn't finish the season healthy. At running back, he's got Kamara and Barkley, and backed up by Chris Thompson, Tevin Coleman, and Jalen Samuels, as well as Alexander Madison. Obviously, when you have 2 of the top 5 dynasty running backs, you're sitting really well. And then when you follow that up with Hopkins, Amari Cooper, and Jarvis Landry, and we'll throw Antonio Brown out there as well. I read something today that him and Tom Brady made an agreement that wherever Brady goes, Brady's going to make whatever team that is sign Antonio. How much truth there is to that, I don't know. But if that does happen, his Fighting Moose's starting wide receivers go from Hopkins, Cooper, and Landry to Hopkins, Cooper, and AB. And AB is a stud. So regardless of how old he is and how long he stayed off the field, or how crazy he seems. At tight end, he's got Travis Kelce and Darren Waller, both easily, in my opinion, top 5 tight ends this next season. They're both getting up there in age. So it could be – I see Fighting Moose competing for a title for the next couple of years, maybe 2 to 3, and then his team's going to start to age out. He'll need to address his tight end position. His wide receivers are going to start being considered old. But his running backs, they're both young and solid. Kamara, we'll see what he does this season if he can bounce back from last year's injury-riddled one. He's on the last year of his rookie deal. So hopefully he'll go back, re-sign with the Saints, because I don't think there's another situation in the NFL where that he would produce as well from. So that's Fighting Moose at 4. At 3, I have Seahawks 73. Last season, he finished second. Overall, his starting lineup's really good. It's not as deep as I would like, but overall, it's really good. He's got Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan at quarterback. At running back, Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette, and Austin Eckler, as well as Rashad Penny. It's good. It's not great, but for a 14-team league, it's really good. At wide receiver, this is his strength. He's got Chris Godwin, Tyreek Hill, Tyler Lockett, and Larry Fitz. Again, top 2 really good. His third is a solid RB or wide receiver 2 and Tyler Lockett. Fitz seems to always be near wide receiver 3 production, even though he's 50. And then at tight end, he's got Zach Ertz. Again, a solid tight end, top 3, top 4, depending on the year. Overall, it's a good team. It's a little bit older, but it's a really solid team and should be able to compete for a championship for at least the next 2 to 3 years. At number 2, I have Hinkie or Hink Ball. He's got at quarterback, let's see, Hink Ball, I believe, finished 3rd last season. Yep. So this season, I think he could easily win the championship, or at least be in it. At quarterback, he's got Mahomes, Lamar, and Sam Darnold. In a non-superflex league, if I was him, I would trade at least one of those. You don't need 3. Well, you definitely don't need the top 2 quarterbacks in the NFL. And Mahomes and Lamar on the same team when you can only start one. That seems like a waste to me. Trade one of them, get some starting capital somewhere else. At running back, he's got CMC, James Conner, Marlon Mack, Phillip Lindsay, Royce Freeman. Obviously, CMC is the best running back in the NFL right now. James Conner was injured a lot of last season. Could be decent this next year. We'll see what they do in Pittsburgh. It seemed like they kind of wanted to have a 3-headed timeshare between Benny Snell, Jalen Samuels, and Conner last year. That could have been because Conner was hurt most of the season. Who knows? And then as far as backups, he's got Marlon Mack and Phillip Lindsay. He also has Royce Freeman, so he's got most of the Broncos backfield, although it did just come out either today or yesterday that the Broncos are looking to add a complement to Phillip Lindsay, which I thought Royce Freeman was, but apparently they don't think so. And honestly, there's a lot of backs in this draft class that could just come in and take the job, in my opinion. So we'll see if Lindsay's safe. Marlon Mack is kind of in the same situation as Lindsay is. It's rumored that they're looking at a bunch of backs, and I had interviews with a bunch of backs at the Combine. But it was also rumored that they were going to re-sign Mack. So this time of year, who knows with all the rumors flying around. At wide receiver, he's got Kenny Galladay, Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, as well as Sterling Shepard and James Washington. And Calvin Ridley. I'm sorry, Calvin Ridley's down there on his IR. So starters being Diggs, Kenny Galladay, and A.J. Brown. All 4 of them pretty easily are going to be, in my opinion, our wide receiver 2s, if not wide receiver 1s. So to have 4 of those in a 14-team league is very, very solid and very promising. At tight end, he's got Noah Fant, David Njoku, and Eric Ebron. Fant and Njoku both have potential to be top 5 tight ends, in my opinion. Fant looked really good last season as a rookie. And tight end is a position that historically doesn't produce as a rookie, so that's pretty solid. Again, this is a starting lineup. Mahomes, CMC, Marlon Mack, Phillip Lindsay, James Conner, Stephon Diggs, Kenny Golladay, A.J. Brown, and Noah Fant. And I think he's going to finish second this year. Or I have him ranked second. That might not necessarily be where he finishes, but that's where I have him. And number 1, we have Gormo, 1987. And he finished as he won the championship last year. We'll just say that. At quarterback, he's got Gardner Minshew, Cam Newton, and Drew Brees. All solid options. Minshew obviously is going to be the starter in Jacksonville this season. And that just came out today. Cam is looking healthy. And if he's healthy, he's probably going to be an quarterback 1 or a top 12 quarterback. At running back, Gormo's got Aaron Jones, Mixon, David Montgomery, as well as Jordan Howard and Gio Bernard. Aaron Jones, Mixon, both easily are going to be RB1s in my opinion. David Montgomery could build off his rookie season. I believe he finished as just on the edge of RB2 last season. So hopefully he'll be an RB1, or not an RB1, but an RB2 this next year. So to have 2 RB1s and an RB2 on your team in a 14-team league is really solid. At wide receiver, he's got Michael Thomas, Julio Jones, John Brown. And that's about it. But that's really all you need. Michael Thomas and Julio, both easily going to be our wide receiver 1s this next season. John Brown showed what he can do when he stays healthy full season, and was an RB3, I believe, this last year. So that's a solid group to go along with his solid running backs. At tight end, he's got George Kittle, Jared Cook, and that's it. But that's really, again, that's all you need between Kittle and Cook. Kittle is my tight end 1 in Dynasty, and I think he's going to finish as a tight end 1 in the NFL this next season. So that's why Gormo is at number 1. So just a real quick recap. Number 1, we have Gormo. Number 2, Hinkball. Number 3, Seahawks 73. Number 4, Fighting Moose. Number 5, DA Look. Number 6, T-Maj. Number 7, Jay. Number 8, Mick 27. Number 9, Alexis. Number 10, Michael Mitchell. Number 11, Bartender. Number 12, Patriots 84. Number 13, Stallion 32. And at 14, bring up the rear, Big Ben 61. And real quick, I'll just do a quick little rookie mock. At number 1, at 101, we have Jay, and he's going to take Swift at 101, plug him in next to Zeke for the next couple of years and be pretty happy with that. At 2 is my team, Mick 27. And like I said, I have a big hole at running back. So I'll go ahead and take Jonathan Taylor. And hopefully he'll pan out better than Darius Geis has. At number 3, Seahawks 73. He'll go ahead and take Dobbins. He doesn't really have all he really needs is depth, so he doesn't need to take any position in particular. So you can go ahead and take the best player on the board, in my opinion, in Dobbins. At number 4, I'm back up, and I'll go ahead and take Akers. Like I said, big hole at running back, so I'm going to go ahead and fill that. And my starting running backs will hopefully for the start of the year be Jonathan Taylor and Cam Akers. At wide receiver, up next we got Michael Mitchell. I'm at 105. He's going to take the best player available on the board. He has holes. He has a big hole at running back as well. But CeeDee Lamb, I honestly should have taken CeeDee Lamb at 104. So Michael Mitchell is going to take him at 5. At 106, T-Maj is up. He, like I said, he can use running backs, but he could also use a wide receiver. He just needs to get younger overall. He's going to take Jerry Jeudy. At 107, Stallion is up. And he has needs everywhere. His biggest need is probably wide receiver, but he could also use a running back. So we'll give him the best running back available in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. At 108, Bartender's up. He's going to take the best player available. In my opinion, after those top 5 running backs, it's a bit of a drop off down to Zach Moss. So Bartender's going to go ahead and take Jalen Reagor. At 109, Alexis is up. He'll take the next best wide receiver or the next available best player in T. Higgins. Next up, we have Big Ben. He has 2 back-to-back picks here, the 110 and 111. He'll take Henry Ruggs and Zach Moss. And that's going to help fill out his lineup. Overall, he has a lot of holes. Right now, he's starting 3 tight ends. None of the 3, other than Dallas Goedert, have finished as tight end 1s in their careers to date. So that's not ideal. At 112, Hinkball's up. He's going to take Laviska Shenault, who has potential to be the best wide receiver from this class. At 113, I'm up. And I don't like taking this player or mocking this player to myself, but he's fallen a little too far, and it is somewhat of a hole on my team. So I'll take Joe Burrow. And in a 14-team league, if you can get an edge at quarterback, which I think Joe Burrow could be, he could finish top 10 this season. So I'll go ahead and take him there. At 14, the champ is up, Gormo. And he doesn't have many holes. But if he did have one, I would say it's quarterback. With Breeze getting up there in age, Cam not being healthy this past season, Minshew, although they said he's going to be the starter, is still kind of a question mark. So he's going to go ahead and take Tua. Tua is was arguably the best quarterback coming into this college season. Joe Burrow just had a historic year and caused him to jump up over top of him. But he'll go ahead and grab him at 14. So that is the mock. This league is going into its 4th season. I've only been in it 1 year, but it's a pretty good league overall. We'll come back and look at it maybe next year, see where everyone finished. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and you can reach me at Mick_Stulkin on Twitter, or check out the pod at Sports Casserole on Twitter. Go ahead and subscribe. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to comment. Have a good night.